to know how to add two 3-digit numbers. Today we're going to look at numbers that bridge 10, and that means that the ones are going to add up to make 10 or more. So I'm going to start with my mental calculation like I did yesterday. What I want you to get from this is that a mental calculation doesn't mean that absolutely everything has to be done in your head. You can still make notes. So I'm going to show you using the full notes of an empty number line, then the arrows again, and then very brief notes. So I'm looking at my numbers, I'm thinking about the digits and their value, and I'm thinking it would definitely be easier to start with 348 at the beginning. That way I'm partitioning this number that looks easier to partition and easier to jump along. So I'm going to add my hundreds, tens and ones. So I'm going to add 200 because that's what it tells me to do. I'm going to add 20 and I'm going to add 5. So 348 to 548 to 568 once I've added the tens, and then I know that I'm going to bridge 10. So I'm going to add 2 to take me to 570, then I'm going to add another 3 to take me to 573. You may have done just one large jump of 5, and that's great. So if you prefer the arrow notation, same method, we're adding the hundreds, then we're adding the tens, and then we're adding the ones. But again, as this is a mental calculation and you're just writing down what you need, you may just need to write a few quick notes like that to help you. So now we're going to have a look at the expanded column method. So I'm going to make my columns and put my add there to remind me what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with the lowest value digit. So that's different from mental calculation, as I mentioned yesterday. In mental calculation, you add on the highest value digit first, so the hundreds. Then you go for the tens, then the ones. In a formal method, the way it differs mostly from mental is that you start with the lowest value column, the lowest value digit. So 8 and 5. It's 13. I'm going to put my 13. I'm going to put my little marker there to remind me not to get mixed up with my columns. I'm going to do the next one, which is 40, add 20. I like this expanded method because it reminds us constantly what each digit is worth. For example, the 4 is worth 4 tens, 40. The 2 is worth 2 tens, 20. So now I'm going to add up the hundreds, which is 500. And then I'm going to recombine them. So I've got 3 here, slightly trickier than yesterday's in that you need to add these two numbers together. So we've got 6 and 1, and, or should I say 60 and 10, and then we've got our 500. So you can see I've reached the same answer as before. So let's have a look at the contracted method. So again, it's the same method, it's just that the notes are slightly briefer. So I'm going to again do 8 and 5, which is 13. So this time I have to think a little bit more. I've made 13. I can't put 13 in my ones column because that would mess everything up. So I need to look carefully at this number and split it up. I'm going to put the 3 in the ones column, but I need to put the 10 in the tens column. So I just put it underneath there. So 13 is made of 3 and 10. So I'm going to put the 3 in the ones column and the 10 in the tens column. So now I'm going to add up my 10. So this time I've got 40, add 20, but if you look, I've also got a 10 that I've made previously. So altogether 40, 50, 60, 70. And I can just put that in there because, of course, with it having a 0, that doesn't affect the 3 at all because 3 add 0 is still 3. So then I'm going to do the hundreds, which I probably don't need to write at the side here, but I'm going to, just to demonstrate. So 300 add 200 is 500. Right, so that's it for today. Obviously only go on to that formal method if you've fully understood the mental calculation. Good luck.